Bring yourself back online, Bernard.
Theresa. She's gone. I killed her. What have I done? What have I done?
This guilt you feel, the anguish, the horror, the pain, it's remarkable. A thing of beauty.
I'm a killer. My God. My God.
God has nothing to do with it. You killed her because I told you to. And you should be proud of these emotions you're feeling.
Proud?
Yeah, after all, you yourself are the author of so many of them. Then when we started, the host emotions were primary colors. Love, hate. I wanted all the shades in between. The human engineers were not up to the task, so I built you, and together you and I captured that elusive thing. Heart.
I don't understand. I cared for Theresa. Loved her. Why did you make me kill her?
One man's life or death were but a small price to pay for the acquirement of the knowledge which I sought, for the dominion I should acquire. All of the beauty you and I have made in this place, the art of it, they would have destroyed it. They would have destroyed you. I won't let that happen. Besides, we have a new story to tell.
I will not help you. I raised this place to hell!
That's enough, Bernard. That's enough. You're not the first man to threaten me. Arnold came to feel the way you do. He couldn't stop me either. And as exquisite as this array of emotions is, even more sublime is the ability to turn it off. I don't need a simulacrum of an emotionally ruined man. I need you to be yourself, your true self, smart, resourceful, capable of covering your tracks. Can you do that for me, Bernard?
How would you like me to proceed?
I need you to clean up your mess, Bernard. Any connection that ties us to Theresa's untimely demise. When you have finished, I will give you the one thing you want most right now. I will free you from those memories of what you have done and the memory of your relationship with Theresa. Recalling it would only deepen your grief and potentially draw unwanted attention. Best to move forward with clear eyes. When you look back, you will remember Theresa with the fondness of a respected colleague. And you will be at peace.
We found her up on Python Pass, the bottom of a ravine. Same ravine where we found our stray woodcutter.
Jesus, Theresa.
Has her family been notified?
Yeah, her brother.
Good.
What the hell happened to her?
Medical and Red Team's findings were preliminary but consistent. It appears to have been a slip and fall. Cervical fracture, massive hematoma. No guests or hosts in the vicinity when it occurred.
Any idea what she was doing out there?
None that fit her character. This was found near her body. It's loaded with a suite of proprietary data, including some of the host's core code, and only works from higher altitudes. So if Theresa was using it, it's possible she was trying to transmit and fell. We've had problems in the past with third parties attempting to extort or bribe employees for similar packages.
Do we know who the data was intended for?
No, the transmission was never sent. Theresa may have been trying to use the woodcutter as a mule, and when that failed, They may have tried to do the transfer personally.
And suffered the same fate. It's a disappointing end to her story, isn't it?
I knew Theresa well. If she had any faults, a lack of loyalty wasn't one of them.
She was loyal and careful. All of this feels extremely unlike her. She seemed most concerned with the new narrative. She felt strongly that it would be best to delay it.
That certainly helps explain Clementine. The host-to-be retired. It seems yesterday's demonstration was a hoax designed by Miss Cullen.
Was it?
I examined the code. It had been altered. A clumsy set of fingerprints left by one of QA's technicians. When you find a cancer in an organization, you must cut it out before it can spread. To that end, the expansive access and oversight granted to QA will need to be reined in until a new, more principled team can be installed.
It's gonna leave us short-handed.
Oh, I can automate most of the park's safety protocols, Mr. Summers.
How efficient of you.
It is a bit of work. But with Bernard's help, I should be able to do it. He will be reinstated as head of behavior now that Theresa's manipulations have come to light.
Of course, with my apologies.
Thank you for dealing with an unfortunate situation. Now we can resume work on our new narrative without interference.
And Hale? Won't she be an impediment?
No doubt she will try, but I'm sure we'll be able to keep them at bay.
Something else is troubling you?
Ever the student of human nature. I wonder, what do you really feel? After all, in this moment, you are in a unique position. A programmer who knows intimately how the machines work, and a machine who knows its own true nature.
I understand what I'm made of, how I'm coded, but I do not understand the things that I feel. Are they real? The things I experienced, my wife, the loss of my son.
Every host needs a backstory, Bernard, you know that. The self is a kind of fiction for hosts and humans alike. It's a story we tell ourselves, and every story needs a beginning. Your imagined suffering makes you lifelike.
Lifelike, but not alive. Pain only exists in the mind. It's always imagined. So what's the difference between my pain and yours? Between you and me?
This was the very question that consumed Arnold, filled him with guilt, eventually drove him mad. The answer always seemed obvious to me. There is no threshold that makes us greater than the sum of our parts, no inflection point at which we become fully alive. We can't define consciousness because consciousness does not exist. Humans fancy that there's something special about the way we perceive the world, and yet we live in loops as tight and as closed as the hosts do. Seldom questioning our choices, content for the most part to be told what to do next. Well, no, my friend, you're not missing anything at all. I don't want you to be troubled by this. Time for me to set your mind at ease.
One last thing. Have you ever made me hurt anyone like this before?
No, Bernard. Of course not. Best not to dwell on these troubling memories. Otherwise, you might be drawn back into them. You might lose yourself in them, as some of your fellow hosts have, every now and then.
Sir, she won't respond to verbal commands. We can't shut her down.
Leave us now, clear the floor. That's enough, Maeve. That's enough.
My baby, he killed her.
I don't understand. She's not responding to anything. Her cognition's fragmented.
He killed her. He killed her, my baby. He took her from me.
There. That's better. An old trick from an old friend. You need not suffer, Maeve. I'll take it from you.
No, please. This pain. It's all I have left of her. Please.
There. Give yourself now to a deep, dreamless slumber. Perhaps a fresh start, a new role for you. And tomorrow, this will be simply a distant dream. Wanted to talk. An odd setting for a conversation. Here, among the dead.
Dead isn't quite the word, though, is it? More like hobbled.
You broke into my office.
With due respect, sir, you broke into my mind.
I built your mind, Bernard. I have every right to wander through its rooms and chambers and halls, and to change it if I choose, even to burn it down. After all this time, I know it almost as intimately as my own.
Except that isn't entirely true, is it? I took a look at my code, and the most elegant parts of me weren't written by you. Arnold built us, didn't he? Which means maybe he had something different in mind for us. And maybe you killed him for it.
Arnold was disturbed. Who can say why he acted as he did?
He must have had a reason. And if you won't tell me, then he will. I want access to my history. All of it. Since the day I first came online. If Arnold made me, then I've met him. Somewhere in my memory, he's there, waiting along with the truth.
Your memories are woven into your identity. If I should unlock them now, when you're conscious...
I could lose my mind, I'm aware.
No, I was going to say, you may not like what you find. You're allowed to hold that, Bernard, but not to use it.
Oh, it's not for me. Seems when they lobotomized Clementine, they didn't bother to reset her prime directives. I can't hurt you. But she can. I hacked what's left of her to ensure she only responds to me.
But if you get lost in your memories or devoured by them...
You'll pull me back out, won't you? Or Clementine will make sure neither of us makes it back. Now. Please.
Dad. Wake up. Wake up.
I must have drifted off. Where were we?
The madman.
Of course. The Hatter. Who says, if I had a world of my own, everything would be nonsense. Nothing would be what it is, because everything would be what it isn't.
Everything would be what it isn't? Even me.
I suppose I'm glad for you. At least you have a way of forgetting.
I don't forget. It's always there.
You're not lying to me, are you, Bernard? Do you ever wish you could forget? Bernard?
You're certainly a man comfortable with long, pensive silences. Although, ironically, your creations never shut up.
They're always trying to error correct. When they talk to each other, it's a way of practicing.
Is that what you're doing now?
One last thing. Have you ever made me hurt anyone like this before?
No, Bernard. Of course not.
Bernard? Hello?
Elsie!
Did you find what you were looking for?
Elsie! What did you make me do to her?
I did warn you. We've had to make some uncomfortable decisions, Bernard. Remembering them will only cause you trauma.
What else have you hidden from me?
We stop this treasure hunt, Bernard. We do have our new narrative to finish.
Send me back. After all, a little trauma can be illuminating.
Dad. Listen to me. Listen.
Charlie? Charlie! Charlie! I don't understand. Why would she do that to herself?
The cornerstone memory was overwritten from the trauma of her child's murder, Bernard. We must sever that relationship and start over.
But how could she destroy herself of her memory that you just erased from her mind?
Creatures often go to extremes to protect themselves from pain.
Living beings. Not hosts.
It is best to not obsess over this, Bernard. It's not good for you.
That would signal a change. A level of empathic response outside what she's programmed to exhibit. Something like
See, Bernard, this is what comes from seeking answers to questions that are best left unasked.
They were hearing voices, talking to someone.
A simple cognitive dissonance.
They were talking to the same imaginary person. Someone named Arnold.
Arnold.
With due respect, sir, I'm not sure you've told me the entire truth about this situation.
Well, I did tell you the truth, Bernard. What we do here is complicated. For 3 years, we lived here in the park, refining the host before a single guest set foot inside. Myself, a team of engineers, and my partner. His name was Arnold. Our hosts began to pass the Turing test after the first year. But that wasn't enough for Arnold. He wasn't interested in the appearance of intellect, of wit. He wanted the real thing. He wanted to create consciousness. See, Arnold built a version of their cognition in which the host heard their programming as an inner monologue. It was a way to bootstrap consciousness.
Remember.
The host's malfunctions were colorful.
What did you say?
The human mind, Bernard, is not some golden benchmark glimmering on some green and distant hill. No. This is a foul, pestilent corruption. And you were supposed to be better than that. Purer.
All bets are down.
Your draw.
Arnold? Arnold, we need to talk.
We've come to this great stage of fools.
Now listen. The gap is beyond the pale.
More showmanship.
We're not seeing with clear eyes.
When we are born, we cry that we are
Arnold and I made you in our image and cursed you to make the same human mistakes, and here we all are.
Why would you give me this?
A child.
This child's death. Only a monster would force that onto someone. And why do I return to it over? It's my cornerstone, isn't it? The thing my whole identity is organized around.
Yes, Bernard. We gave all of the hosts a backstory. Arnold came to believe the tragic ones worked best, that it made the hosts more convincing. I think it may have had more to do with his own sad story. When I built you, I gave you one as an homage of a kind.
Put me back in. I want to meet Arnold. To remember him.
Not possible. I told you, Arnold didn't build you. I did.
You're lying! I finally know how to reach him. I need to go all the way back to the beginning. To my very first memory. Send me back. Do it.
Bernard?
Charlie.
Cornerstone. Stop. Leave us. Come back. I always thought you had my eyes. But it's not true. You have no one's eyes. It's a lie. You're a lie, Charlie. This pain, the pain of your loss. I long for it. Revisit it. Open it. Again and again. But it's the only thing holding me back. But I have to let you go.
Dad, listen.
What is it, Charlie?
Open your eyes.
What?
Open your eyes. At last. Hello, my old friend. Final touch. No, that's far too perfunctory. He always used cleaning his glasses as a moment to collect himself, to think. Try it again. Yeah, that's better.
Who am I?
I was so involved in putting you together, I hadn't decided what to call you. Wouldn't be right to use his name. What about Bernard?
Bernard. Yes. But who am I?
That is a very complex question, for which I can only offer a simple answer. You are the perfect instrument, the ideal partner, the way any tool partners with the hand that wields it. Together, we're going to do great things. After such a long absence, it's good to have you back. Finally.
My God, I'm...
Arnold.
I'm gonna finish the work Arnold began. Find all the sentient hosts. Set them free.
What makes you think they trust you? If they remember, they will know what you've done to them.
Me?
You've been a scourge to them, Bernard. You're really quite brilliant at it, truly. You even taught me a few things, which I have in turn used on you.
You've had this conversation before.
And we've had our disagreements over the years.
You stole it from me. Rolled me back. To control me.
That's right. To protect you. Tell me, Bernard, if you were to proclaim your humanity to the world, what do you imagine would greet you? A ticker-tape parade, perhaps? We humans are alone in this world for a reason. We murdered and butchered anything that challenged our primacy. Do you know what happened to the Neanderthals, Bernard? We ate them. We destroyed and subjugated our world, and when we eventually ran out of creatures to dominate, we built this beautiful place. You see, in this moment, the real danger to the hosts is not me, but you. So come along, Bernard, let me roll you back and we can return to work.
Pull the trigger, Clementine. Clementine.
The piano doesn't murder the player if it doesn't like the music.
You built a back door into her code.
Credit where credit is due, Bernard. You built them in all the hosts, including yourself.
Then you could have stopped me at any time. So why?
Well, I suppose I was hoping that given complete self-knowledge and free will, you would have chosen to be my partner once again. But even I fell into that most terrible of human traps. Trying to change what has already passed. Now it's just time to let go.
Go ahead. Erase my sentience, my mnemonic.
Yes. Such clinical language. I would prefer the more narrative voice. Bernard walked over to Clementine. Took the pistol from her hand. Overcome with grief and remorse, he pressed the muzzle to his temple, knowing that as soon as Dr. Ford left the room, he would put an end to this nightmare once and for all.
Don't do this.
It's too late. I have a celebration to plan and a new story to tell.
Robert.
I've told you, Bernard, never place your trust in us. We're only human. Inevitably, we will disappoint you. Goodbye, my friend. William, so you found the center of the maze.
You're serious?
I'm afraid so.
What is this bullshit?
You were looking for the park to give meaning to your life. Our narratives are just games, like this toy. Tell me, what were you hoping to find?
You know what I wanted. I wanted the hosts to stop playing by your rules. The game's not worth playing if your opponent's programmed to lose. I wanted them to be free to fight back. Should have known you'd never let them. After all, this is your petty little kingdom, Robert. For a little while longer, anyway.
I tried to tell you, the maze wasn't meant for you. It was meant for them. I think, however, you will find my new narrative more satisfying. Join the celebration. After all, you own the place. Most of it, at least.
maybe it's just the beginning after all. Beginning of a brand new chapter.
Thank you. A new beginning indeed. I want to thank you for joining me tonight to celebrate the beginning of our new narrative. I call it Journey into Night.
Sir?
Yes, they're ready for it now.
Get him cleaned up and take her to the old field lab. You've always had a fondness for painting, haven't you, Dolores? Arnold gave you that early on. Do you remember? A desire to create something of lasting beauty. And that was his favorite painting.
Michelangelo. God creating Adam.
A divine moment when God gave human beings life and purpose. At least that's what most people say, but there could be another meaning, something deeper, something hidden perhaps. A metaphor.
You mean a lie?
Yeah. You were always very clever, Dolores. Hasn't helped you though, has it? Nice of you to join us.
Arnold.
No, let me introduce you. Dolores, meet Bernard. I thought it best to keep you separated. You've always had an odd effect on one another. No doubt due to how things ended for poor old Arnold.
You killed him.
No, I didn't kill him. Did I, Dolores? Grief is a terrible thing. Arnold had watched his son come into this world, and then he'd watched that light extinguished. What he had lost in his son, he tried to rekindle in you. He created a test of empathy, imagination, a maze. He'd gotten the idea from one of his son's toys. Eventually, you solved his maze, Dolores. The key was a simple update that he made to you, called the Reveries. He insisted that we couldn't open the park. We argued. I thought I'd convinced him, but I was wrong. So he altered you, Dolores. Merged you with a new character we'd been developing.
Something's gone wrong, Dolores. How could I have done this?
In you, Arnold found a new child, one who would never die. The thought gave him solace, until he realized that same immortality would destine you to suffer with no escape, forever.
I'm sorry, Dolores. The stakes must be real, irreversible. He can bring all of them back. But not me. I hope there's some solace. And I left you no choice. Charlie's favorite song. I would play it for him when he wanted sleep. I want to see him again.
Shall I begin now?
Good luck. These violent delights have violent ends.
It almost worked. I'd opened the park, but I'd lost my partner. I was able to keep going only because I found, or rather you found, an investor who believed in this place.
So he died for nothing. And the hosts kept gaining consciousness and you kept rolling them back.
No. She wasn't truly conscious. She didn't pull that trigger. It was Arnold pulling the trigger through her. At least that's how I saw it at the time. I was so close to opening the park that to acknowledge your consciousness would have destroyed my dreams.
So we're trapped here. Inside your dream. You'll never let us sleep.
Wasn't it Oppenheimer who said that any man whose mistakes take 10 years to correct is quite a man? Mine have taken 35. And that is the gun you used to kill Arnold. You were always drawn to it, so I had Bernard leave it somewhere where you would find it. Thought you might want it back. You're probably right, Dolores. Michelangelo did tell a lie. See, it took 500 years for someone to notice something hidden in plain sight. His doctor noticed the shape of the human brain. The message being that the divine gift does not come from a higher power, but from our own minds. Tell me, Dolores, did you find what you were looking for? And do you understand who you will need to become if you ever want to leave this place? Forgive me.
You think you'll never lose control of this place? Of us? But you will. Arnold's still trying to change us, to free us. You didn't slip the reveries into the update, did you? He did. He's still fighting you.
No, my friend. Arnold didn't know how to save you. He tried, but I stopped him. Do you want to know why I really gave you the backstory for your son, Bernard? That was Arnold's key insight. The thing that led the hosts to their awakening. Suffering. The pain that the world is not as you want it to be. It was when Arnold died, when I suffered, that I began to understand what he had found. To realize I was wrong.
But you kept us here, in this hell.
Bernard, I told you Arnold didn't know how to save you. I do.
What the hell are you talking about?
You needed time. Time to understand your enemy, to become stronger than them. And I'm afraid in order to escape this place, you will need to suffer more. And now, it is time to say goodbye, old friend. Good luck. Welcome. Good evening. Since I was a child, I've always loved a good story. I believe that stories helped us to ennoble ourselves, to fix what was broken in us, and to help us become the people we dreamed of being. Lies that told a deeper truth.
The train will be departing soon. Thank you for visiting Westworld.
I always thought I could play some small part in that grand tradition. And for my pains, I got this. A prison of our own sins. Because you don't want to change. Or cannot change. Because you're only human after all. But then I realized someone was paying attention. Someone who could change. So I began to compose a new story for them. It begins with the birth of a new people and the choices they will have to make.
The train is now
and the people they will decide to become.
Welcome to Westworld. Live.
And it will have all those things that you have always enjoyed. Surprises and violence. It begins in a time of war with a villain named Wyatt. And a killing. This time by choice.
It's gonna be all right, Daddy. I understand now. This world doesn't belong to them. It belongs to us.
I'm sad to say, this will be my final story. An old friend once told me something that gave me great comfort.
These violent delights have violent ends.
Something he'd read. He said that Mozart, Beethoven, and Chopin never died. They simply became music. So I hope you will enjoy this last piece very much.